The one that I could kick myself. So most of my Zooms, when I do them, like I'm sure you guys have it set, it just starts recording.
You're good,
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I know where this is going.
So I'm interviewing Bert Kreischer.
Oh,
Okay. And this is by the way, this is the second time I interviewed him because I had him in the studio when my son was he had to be under 2 because he turned us off the airplane with his Thomas the Trains. It was not professional. It was like last minute I had to bring my sick kid into the office, which I don't know why I was bringing a sick kid in. But anyways, it was a long story. So I'm seeing Bert and I haven't seen him since then. And I was bringing up that story. He goes, I remember that because so we're having this amazing conversation.
Yeah.
He obviously doesn't have a shirt on. His daughter walks behind the podcast and just starts talking. And he's like, oh, she doesn't care. Like, she's like, so like over whatever. So 40 minutes later, we're wrapping up. Great to see you. I decided to take a picture like with my phone, just kind of showing, and I look stupid in it, so I'll never post it. But whatever the deal was, I get done, it never recorded.
Welcome, fellow lushes. Come on in, pull up a bar stool, and enjoy some cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
Welcome back to another episode of Cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
Tavern is now open.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it already was. I had a drink, but I know the owner, so sometimes they'll make me drinks before they open up.
Get you? It's always good to. It's good to know
another one.
It's good to be the king.
Chrissy D. Beautiful.
Yeah, we'll find out about her. Yeah, she's new to the game. New to our game.
Well, new to our game, not new to her game.
Not nude to our game. Nudie, not nudie.
Oh yeah, Nudie's Bar and Grill or Honky Tonk. Excuse me.
Honky Tonk. Get it right. Get a honky tonk.
Nudie's Honky Tonk in good old Nashville, Tennessee.
Tootsies.
In good old Nashville, Tennessee. I've been there twice. Well, what year is it? Oh, I was there twice in
23. 2022, you were there twice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in 2022. Shit. I'm at a loss. I'm like, what the?
Yeah, what are you thinking? That's all right. It blends.
I'm not thinking so much.
I've been there 37 times.
37?
In 2023.
Oh, already this year.
Yep. I go every weekend.
Well, that's still not 37, unless you're considering every day another day or whatever. Then I think you're
been there once.
Yep.
Once.
Yep.
And I didn't even get to go to the Goo Goo Cluster place.
You didn't?
I didn't.
You guys are such a loser. That's because all you guys did was drink. You got to take time out for some of the other fun stuff.
And next to that,
I
drank.
Yeah. You couldn't have put down one of them drinks to go to the Goo Goo Cluster store? I don't feel bad for you.
You're going to wake me up. I woke up. I got dressed. I fell back asleep.
I don't feel bad for you. Oh, is that what happened? That you were all hungover that morning when we went?
A rough one.
That was a good trip. I wasn't hungover at all.
No, I wasn't. Yeah. I got up and went and had a cocktail.
Okay, but you just said you were.
Well, I fell back asleep.
Do we want to rewind the tape here?
Did I say hungover? I don't know. I really it's cloudy.
It's
cloudy because it was so. And by the time I got home and by the time we were supposed to get up, it was a little cloudy. That trip is a little cloudy. That's what's sick too.
That's what Nashville's supposed to do. Get you a little cloudy.
But I was there.
I was too.
I was
You guys were killing it. You guys were hitting all the top floors, and I don't think I climbed a set of stairs. Oh no, maybe one.
Maybe.
I didn't really climb. The first time I was there, we climbed every fucking set of stairs. That's a long day. You go all the
we did a couple during the day that that one day me and Leah went out.
Yeah.
What's her name's? Lambert's bar. We went upstairs to hers.
Yeah, all the way. Yeah. Didn't we go? We went all the way up to fucking Kitty Rocks too, and
look at that.
And there was nowhere to. So we
swore.
We went. It's been like 7 minutes.
Well, I don't know how long you edited it down. Yeah, we did, but we went. It
Well, I already did the welcome back,
Well-
fellow lushes. So
Hey, there's a table. We can go eat up there.
somebody
It
would
looks empty.
somebody would have needed him in Superman.
It's taken.
Next. So stupid.
All right, well, let's go off the beaten path to eat again.
So stupid. Nashville. Nashville.
So fun.
Yeah. Great.
If you would have ran, we would have made it. But anyways, before we get going here, do us a favor, like, subscribe, leave a little comment to us. Our little your two Nashville honeys here. We're getting to be that way with
We're
all
not from Nashville.
or not, but we get to have so many Nashville people on.
I am a honey though.
Getting to be there. They're Nashville honeys.
All right. Is that what they want you? That's what you want them to call us in the comments? Nashville honeys, right on top of the 7 words you can't say on TV.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's where you leave the comment. And then we better not leave a pretty lady waiting.
All right. Without further ado, Chrissy D. Uh-oh. The guest has a nicer studio than us. We're already in trouble.
Fancy.
No, don't ever put shiplap on a wall because it doesn't look that great if you're blonde. It really doesn't. Like I should have had a darker background, but
well, my hair would certainly blend in, so I'm not using it either. Yeah.
It'd be like if you wore green on a green screen. Yes.
Right. Can you turn yourself up just a little bit?
Yeah.
We want to hear you.
How's that? Better?
People want to hear you, not us.
There we go.
I don't know about that.
Well, they've been hearing you for 20 years. So we're joined tonight by how do you want me to introduce you?
Kris Daniels.
Kris Daniels. Okay. We started talking to you through Instagram, your Instagram page, and talked about you coming on the podcast. You've got 20 plus years of on-air radio personality. So I'm sure you got a ton of stories and
on to your next venture.
Yeah.
Your next life adventure. Excited to hear about that.
Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start at the beginning.
There you go.
How did you get into radio?
My dad was actually in radio. So I grew up around radio in Phoenix, Arizona, but he would not help me actually get into radio. So there was no help there, but
he was a legendary Hall of Famer.
Yes, he is.
So let's give him a little toot of his horn there. He deserves that.
He's very good at what he did for sure. 100%. But
I'm curious, did he not want you to go into, or wasn't going to help you get into radio because he didn't want you to go into it, or just because he wanted you to succeed on your own?
Because he wanted me to succeed on my own.
Okay.
And he didn't want people to say, oh, her dad helped her.
Sure.
Because there were many opportunities where he could have, but he was like, nope, she's not ready. She needs to, go move around the United States and work in different markets and stuff, which was, actually was one of the best things that ever happened to me. So,
yeah.
So did he kind of help you by pushing you?
Oh, yeah. He would do one of my first gigs. I actually was working at the station he worked at in Phoenix, but he didn't hire me. So I did like the worst shifts, like overnights, weekends, which, by the way, that's some of the best content ever. Think about people that are up overnight.
Right.
Think about those phone calls. So I would come, and I was still living at home. I would come home and he'd have like a 3-page write-up of everything I did wrong, maybe one thing I did right, with a cassette tape. It was still cassettes, with a cassette tape saying, we'll talk more in the morning. Like, what else is there to say? You just did 3-page analysis on everything, but it really helped me, get better at what I was doing. Yeah.
I'm curious, like, what kind of tips and tricks, and what is he seeing that you're not doing, and what are you doing right?
Gosh,
it seems like you just jump on a microphone and talk, right? But it's not that simple. We all know it's not that simple. So,
and granted, radio's changed so much since then, because you've got PPM market versus diary market, and he wasn't wrong. If you hear some of my old air checks, it is bad. I'm like, who hired me? But I guess they saw something. So he was just like, you should have tried doing this instead of that. Or, let the caller talk. or whatever. I mean, I can't remember, that was so long ago, but I just remember 3 pages and it was a lot.
That's funny. Your dad gives you that, and I give him that all the time. Let the guests
Yeah,
talk.
see?
I don't listen.
Right. You probably have the gift of gab, right?
He is definitely the talker of the bunch. Yes.
When we're
Well,
out.
let me ask you, what made you guys decide to do this podcast?
Yeah. We had talked about it for a couple of years before we started. We're big Dave Matthews Band fans.
Yes.
So we do a lot of traveling road trips around the country to see shows. And of course, we find each other hilarious and thought,
We cracked each other up.
yeah, if
Right.
we think we're funny, everybody else will. And it took us 2 years, I think, right at the beginning of the pandemic or right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
We finally said, yeah, let's start doing this. And
Because we would get together on the weekends. We spent like a Friday, we'd get together for steak and whiskey. And then we
Yeah.
finally said, well, let's turn our steak and whiskey evening. Let's just record it.
yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
went from there.
That's how it starts. I do have a great Dave Matthews Band story. Well, I think it's great. You may not, because you guys are big
Uh-oh.
fans.
Oh,
So
any story's
have
good.
have you ever heard of Hullabaloo?
Yeah.
Okay, so it happened one time.
Yeah.
I was working in Louisville in radio at the time, and it was a big deal. And looking back, it was like too good to be true, because there were so many amazing bands. I don't know how they made money. I mean, they probably didn't. That's why it was 1 year. But
Right.
I got to stand side stage for Dave Matthews, for a lot of the bands, but Dave Matthews, and I was just blown away, because seeing it from that aspect, it was like, wow, he is just, I mean, he's just a true entertainer.
Yeah.
Amazing.
For sure. Oh, I thought that story was going in a bad direction the way you said
Great
it.
story, yeah.
No, I was just that it was a festival that never happened again. Like the Black Crows were there. We saw
Yeah.
them side stage, Zach Brown band,
Hmm.
Dirks. I mean, it was
Okay.
just amazing. Yeah. It was really cool.
Yeah, that's a fantastic. I saw one year, I remember Zach Brown opening for Dave
Right.
at Alpine Valley.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Where are you guys out of?
We're in Wisconsin.
Okay.
Kind of near the Green Bay area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how you do those winters.
I don't either. We were actually in Belize for the right after New Year's. We spent a week down there, him and I and some other people, and yeah, it was, that really reminded you when you get back and you're like, oh man, why do we do this?
I was gonna say, you would have to, like, if you like, Nashville's cold, but not cold like
It's
where you guys.
right.
To me,
No.
it's cold because I'm from the West Coast, but I can't even imagine like what it would be like to live like that. I think I would have to check out, like go to Florida or something in like January.
Yeah.
So you've never been in the Midwest for any winter or anything? Snow or
Louisville.
okay.
And that was, oh no, I'll never forget. We first moved to Louisville from California. I show up, I have stiletto boots, cute little scarves, and they're like, "You're not ready for winter." I'm like, "This is my winter wear." And they're like, "No, it's not."
Not here, it's not.
And no, and they're like, "Oh, because we were asking about the weather, and they said, well, it only happens every 5 years, and we just had it last year, so you're good for 5 years." Guess what happened in
Wow.
2008? It was the ice storm that only the Amish people knew how to like survive it. You know what I mean? It was like horrible.
Yeah. They were all set up and ready to go for it. Left everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like,
And they
"This
knew
is
about it.
great."
They could tell it was coming.
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect.
So,
Well, so that was one of your many stops.
yes. So when I first started, I worked in rock a little bit. Most of my background's been country.
Yeah.
And then I was in college the first time, dropped out because I'm like, why do I need a degree when I can get paid to do, what I love?
Yeah.
And so I just moved I went from there to Savannah, Georgia, to Bakersfield, to Tucson, back to Bakersfield, to Fresno, to Louisville, to Vegas,
Wow.
and Burbank, where I worked for Radio Disney, and then now Nashville.
Okay.
My kids are all
Wow.
born in different states.
That is crazy.
A lot of moving and radio is what made you move. Radio
Yes.
jobs.
And that's the thing, is a lot of people don't understand. There are some people that are very fortunate where they're in that market forever. And that's really rare, especially now. Like my dad was at the station in Phoenix for 30 years.
Okay. Sure.
But it was also, Buck Owens, who was good friend of his owned it,
Okay.
and believed in my dad, and they were very successful. But you're looking at 3 to 5 years as you're moving up in markets, or you're moving to a place like you want to live, like warm weather or whatever.
Sure. It's weird because around here on terrestrial radio, we have 2 morning guys or morning people that have been around as long as I can remember. Like
several of them, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It's weird to hear that. I mean, maybe it's just because we're in, it's probably Green Bay they're out of or whatever. So it's not a huge market or whatever. But yeah, it's weird because we have
comfort level.
Yeah, they've been around forever.
Well, and they've probably built their name in the community.
They did.
Really, that's their hometown. They don't want to move.
Sure.
They're semi-celebrities and all that good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, radio people, especially if you were on the radio back then, because obviously a lot more people were listening terrestrial radio back then. So they're big.
But you were moving up. These guys didn't want to. So you obviously were moving up in in personality, radio personality, and what else? Things behind the scene as well.
Yeah, I was when I was in Louisville, I was the music director for both our Louisville station and then our Dayton station, and then I did mornings.
Oh,
and
wow.
then when I went to Vegas, I became the program director and I did mornings and a million bar nights where if you ever want to see poor choices happening, I mean, I don't have to tell you, but Vegas is a great place to see that.
Oh yeah.
And then
I've made a few
Disney.
myself.
Yes. Hopefully it's not on film.
Yes, he has.
But yeah, so then I went to Disney, and Disney was going to be it, but then the pandemic happened. And when that happened, that's when they decided to close Radio Disney and Radio Disney Country.
Okay. All right.
That's truly a magical place to work, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was in Burbank. So what did they just have they just had a big radio studio that you worked out of?
Yeah. And what was interesting with that is I wasn't on the air there. I went in as the director of music and programming for the pop and the country. So we were in the same building as the television station. So like a lot of, Disney Junior, Disney Channel, all that. And so it was very interesting because you had Marvel, you had ESPN, think of all the companies that Disney owned. When the new movies would come out, like the Marvel movies, we get to take our kids like right when it opened, and you'd be in the studio with people who created these movies, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's I do radio, but that's like, oh my, amazing,
That is,
That's
cool.
That's cool opportunities.
Was there a big push with I'm thinking in my head, my daughters would watch, Disney shows, Victoria Justice and Hannah Montana. Was there a lot of crossover with the radio? And because I know they push music a lot on those TV shows.
Yeah, there was. As a matter of fact, trying to think who would have been at the time. We would do cross promotions or have them host certain things. We did a lot with Radio Disney Country because we were trying to kind of rebrand it, and we were very more female friendly on the radio. Like our playlist was 60 to 65% female and the rest were men, which is in country or in radio in general. That's kind of a little rare, but and it wasn't just like we played any female, they had to be good. But there were a lot of times where we would have do you know Haley Arantia from the Goldbergs? She's on that show. Okay, she would come in and I would coach her to help her host. Like she did the Nashville Parade, she interviewed Dan and Shay, so I would kind of coach her from a radio aspect how to be a host. Even though she's an actress, there is a little bit of a difference. So we would work with a lot of artists like that. Megan Trainor, oh my gosh, she's amazing. Her personality, she could have been really good hosting stuff.
She's definitely fantastic on podcasts. I've seen her on a number of podcasts, and she is hilarious.
She's like that in real life.
Yeah, she's for how successful she is, she seems like just the most normal person you could ever talk to. Yes,
super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And through your job at Disney, it seems like you worked at a lot of different positions. Or was that all at one time, or like you moved from department to department?
Well, typically what you want to do is the end goal is either to be a PD or an operations manager if you want to get in the management side of radio. And it's very rare nowadays to be just a PD. You're usually on a day part. You're usually middays or afternoons, but I've always loved doing mornings because it's like you guys were saying, you have fun.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You have someone that you talk to, you have the chemistry, and it's fun because I think it's more fun than when I do middays because I'm just talking to myself. I mean,
Sure.
kind of. I'm talking to pretend people, in my mind. But so
Me
yeah,
and all
so
my friends.
yes, exactly. So yeah, so I mean, it's just like these were different positions that I was kind of working my way up because the Disney position at the very right before the pandemic, I was promoted to the director position, which is an executive at
Okay.
Disney, and that was like, wow, this
Yeah.
is cool.
For
My
Disney, yeah.
business cards had little Mickey Mouse on it. It was so cute.
That was the best part.
Right?
It was. I loved it.
Well, how did you get started with Disney? Did you apply for something or did they seek you out?
No, you know what's funny is I was in Vegas and I was on LinkedIn and I saw this ad and typically for radio people, you don't go through LinkedIn. It's more like, who you know or the trades, like all access, whatever. And I just happened to be looking at jobs and it pulled up this job and I'm like, that's everything I do. I book tons of concerts in Vegas with the casinos. I do all this stuff. So I applied, didn't think anything of it, heard back like a month later. And then I think I went through 3 to 6 months worth of interviews.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, they do background checks, everything. And it was like probably 8 interviews. And then and they called me on a Friday and I remember she was like, well, yeah, he just wants to move. And I thought they were saying, oh, you didn't get it. And she's like, we just want to offer you the job. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And they sent over the contract. So it was just the whole staff there was amazing. It was different from radio, terrestrial radio, because it was more streaming. We were on Sirius XM. It was more like, I mean, you have meetings with lawyers and stuff because they are very protective about the Disney brand.
I bet.
So it was like next level. Like, I'm like, do they think like I came from radio? I mean, it was fun though. It was great.
Yeah, I suppose they're going to scrutinize the things you say on air a little bit more than even your terrestrial radio people.
Oh yeah. Well, that was probably good that I wasn't on the air there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Was any with Disney? Was there any of it televised for you? Were you ever?
You know what? We did do. What did they call it? Oh, the Arties. So they used to do the Disney Music Awards show, and that would be like pre-taped and everything. And you would see like over the years, if you Google it, you can see over the years, like I think Miley was on there, Britney Spears, like throughout the years. One of the years I was there, we did it actually live. And so you had to go, and it was, I don't know why, but it was at CBS Studios for some reason. But we went into the studio and they're like, okay, once we go live, no one can leave this building. So at that moment, I don't know why, but I got very claustrophobic because, I mean, to be honest, I'm like, what if I have to pee? Like I have to, I'm like stuck, So I opted to not be there. And I watched it in the other set, like where they did the red carpet and everything. I watched it in there with a couple colleagues who didn't want to be in there either. But had I been in there, you would have seen me all over because you could see all of our staff in there.
Oh,
and stuff.
Sure. Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
But again, I didn't want to be, I was like, that's like 2 hours.
That's a long time to not be able to move.
Right. Yeah.
So during all this, you went back to college and got yourself a bachelor and a master's in psychology?
Yep. Yeah. So I had a listener one night, like one who, like she'd always called. She was just a very lonely woman. This was early on in my career. And she wanted to like commit suicide. And I'm like, I'm not like trained for this. So I gave her a hotline and stuff. So after that, I was like, I think there's something here.
Yeah.
So I went back to school with while I was pregnant and my husband helped me, thank goodness, but, and working full time.
Whoa.
And then I got my master's, and then I got my license, but I'm still technically an intern because in the state of Nevada, just like California, you have to have 3,000 hours. And when you do that part-time,
That takes a
it
while to
takes
get
a
to
while.
3,000
Yeah.
hours.
But I
I
still see patient or clients. I still see clients. I only see like 2 a week because I don't want too much, but I did it mainly to create a show, to create like a Love Lines meets Delilah type show
Okay.
in
Mhm.
country. I've
Can
kind
you-
of been working on that for a while.
I'm not familiar with Delilah. What is Delilah?
Like soft
It's all
rock.
soft love songs.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like
like
Delilah loves someone tonight.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
People would
So it's
call in
kinda-
dedicate, right? I'll dedicate
Yes.
to
Yeah.
my
Oh,
love, my wife of 10 years, or
all right.
Yeah.
woman I
So-
saw in the car. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So all the love stories, whatever. So that's why I went back, and I learned really quick. While I love helping people, because I think there's more, I'm obviously not 20, I'm older, so I have life experience. I'm a mom, I'm married, and I think that really helps a lot.
Oh, sure. Experiences. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You've heard, you've been through a lot
Yeah.
in all your careers.
Yeah. Yes, I have. I've lived so many places. I can
Sorry.
help like relocate you. How about that?
Well, yeah, you're a realtor too, as well, but we'll talk about
Yes,
that.
yeah.
So out of all your stops, which one did you love the most? For let's say, which one did you love the most, like city wise, and which one did you love besides Disney as far as an employer?
I think I liked Burbank in the sense of family was close, the beaches were close. We had a fifth wheel at Pismo Beach, so
Oh.
that was our beach house.
Nice.
The weather's always nice. Like if it's cold, it's like 55.
Yeah.
That's freezing. I liked Vegas a lot. I want to say I liked Vegas the first 3 years I lived there because our friends and family, but then towards the end, it just got a little too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't imagine living there because when I go there, it's like 3 or 4 days and I'm ready to. Now,
Yeah.
I know when you live there, you're not spending every night on the strip, but.
Right.
But think of how many people come and visit you all the time.
Right.
Let's go to the strip. No.
Yeah.
Here's my car. You can take it or Uber.
Yeah.
I'm here. Show me a good time. Entertain me.
Right.
Well,
Yes.
Vegas entertains you. You don't need help.
No, you don't need any help. And now it's like there's so many more things out there. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it's been a good decade for me since I've been out there, but
Well, now you got the Raiders out there, which
yeah,
at the time they weren't finished with the stadium before we left. And we're like, oh, now our team comes to town. And we're leaving.
That's true. That's right.
And now they're getting baseball and the hockey. Have you seen
Mhm.
the Golden Knights are playing tonight?
yeah, yeah. I don't know what the series is at, but I know they're
For the
yeah.
Stanley
either.
Cup, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good for them.
Yeah, they've been pretty successful since they came into the league. I know their first season they did really well as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't
We
realize
were
they were
still
getting a
there.
baseball team.
Yeah. I believe it's the A's.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That'll be weird.
Yeah,
Oakland not having.
not having a baseball team.
Anything.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, makes sense. But
Yeah.
anyways, so you say you're still seeing a couple patients a week. Is that locally, or do you do it like through Zoom, or how do you see them?
So I have to do it through Zoom because my license is in Nevada. So I
Oh.
can only see, clients based out of Nevada. If I switch it to
Oh,
Tennessee, it's only 1,000 hours, which I'm almost at. So that would behoove me, but it's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, I can
so
imagine.
then would you have to stop seeing the
Yeah.
Las Vegas people?
Yeah,
Oh yeah. So
I would.
okay.
You can't be licensed in 2 states, huh? That's weird.
I don't know how, I should know, but to my knowledge, you can't. And look, there's probably someone out there that's knows. And
Sure.
they're like, yes, you can. You can be in all 50 states. But to my knowledge, no. Now,
Sure.
as a realtor, yes, you can
Yeah.
be in multiple states. You just have to take the test, which is one of the hardest tests ever, I think.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was
Wow.
hard. Yeah, I got a master's with a 3.75 because I had a miss turning in homework because I had a broadcast for the CMAs. I cannot. The realtor exam almost broke me.
How many-
I'm
Wow.
like,
How many times did you take it?
how many times? Okay, the Tennessee one I actually passed right away, which I
All
was
right.
shocked, barely. But the national one, I think I took it 3 times.
Wow.
And the first 2 times, it was like I missed it by 1.
Oh no.
And you have to wait like a certain amount of time. And I'm like, I've been studying. I'm a person that I don't know how you guys learn, but I have to do something.
Yeah.
Right.
That's typically me too.
reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. It's hard to just read a book and be, yeah. Yeah.
But you
And
did
what
it.
do you? Yes, I did. I did. What do you guys do for a living?
I do structural design for like heavy industrial buildings. So
Oh,
I
that's
sit-
cool.
I sit behind a computer all day and yeah.
Watch podcasts. But
Watch
Watch
podcasts. Yeah. One
Hey.
screen's a podcast, one screen's my job.
I was gonna say we watch porn, but I figured it'd be nice.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No porn at work. No.
Yeah,
Um,
that's frowned upon.
it is. I work for a label company. We print labels for Winnex, McDonald's, and running the customer service department now.
That's cool.
Mr. Customer Service.
Yeah.
So friendly all the time.
Well, that probably pays off for what you do.
It does. It does. It was just I wasn't forced into it, but it was highly suggested I take on the department. But that's all right.
Yeah.
It's fun. So yeah, and then this is my relief.
So I'm curious, going back to the marriage and therapy, do you have a morning show now where you take callers like that? Is that what you're
No,
Okay.
it was a concept that I was creating to create like a syndicated show. So
Okay.
in order to make that happen, you need to, and I've already mapped everything out. I've already done test runs. But you got to put together a demo and then you shop it basically. You
Sure.
you
I
take it
gotcha.
somewhere. But when that happens, there's so many things going on in life that kind of get in the way. Like you guys are saying, that's your release. Well,
Yeah.
okay, I'm a realtor, I'm a therapist, I do radio, I have kids, one's in travel baseball. So I mean, it's like do I really want to make this happen, or because it's a lot of time and energy before you even get there.
Or you might have to trim one of the other things you're doing to make it successful if you have to put all your efforts into it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. So
I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. Okay. But the concept's there and you never know.
It's in my head.
You'll get there. So was the Disney announcement, did you see the writing on the wall, or was it just like a total surprise to everybody when they
It was
down?
a surprise because we were planning festivals and stuff to celebrate. I think Radio Disney was getting ready to celebrate 25 years.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was going to be a big deal. Yeah. And so I say it was a surprise, but no one at the time knew about like, what is this pandemic?
Mhm.
Like, what does this mean? Especially in California. I mean, it was like locked down. So it's like, what? So when you see that and Disneyland isn't open, I kind of thought in the back of my head, well, if someone's going to go, I think it would be us before anything.
Yeah.
Because if you look at their properties, they're not really radio,
Right. I remember hearing some exorbitant number of how much money Disney was losing every day they were closed during the pandemic. It was just some ridiculous, I don't even 30, 40, 50 million, something like this a day, or
That'd have been crazy.
I'm like, wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
So I guess when you hear those numbers, they got to trim something.
Right.
And it was us.
And it was sorry.
No, but even when you leave Disney, they treat you like amazing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, they just, I mean, they help you out and everything, try to help you find another job. They were really good.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's on your resume and, things take off for them, or not that they need more help, but yeah, you can always go back.
Yeah. Never
Possibly.
know.
Have they started it back up, or is it still,
No.
it's still not a thing? Okay.
I meant in a different capacity.
Sure.
What I was thinking.
Sure. Yeah. I didn't.
Yeah.
know.
Go work on those Marvel movies.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh.
And
Those
now
people
you're,
so
are you,
talented.
you're starting a podcast yourself. Is that how are you going to find time for this thing?
Yeah, I know, right? So I voice track for several stations in different markets,
Okay.
and I'm entertaining different jobs right now. But yeah, I was like, I want to do a podcast, just having conversations with people.
Yeah.
Like finding out what other people do, why they do it, where they live, just a literal conversation. So, I did just start it. I haven't really launched. I mean, it's up, but I haven't like really, launched it or anything. And the funny thing is, and you guys, I mean, you've been doing this for a while, so you may find this interesting too. As someone who's done radio, it feels like like my whole thing with the podcast is I want a conversation.
Yeah.
Like we're just sitting here talking this and that. But a lot of times it turns into more of an interview, which is fine. I mean, I've done it for 20 something years, but it's finding that balance. And, when you don't know someone, it's finding what is it they want to talk about?
Right.
What are they passionate about and stuff? So that's the only thing. There's some people I have and I'm like, oh my gosh, they were fantastic. They were great.
Mhm.
And then some, it was like, yes, no.
You've been there.
And I'm
You've
like,
been there.
Can you elaborate a little bit? So, and I
Sure.
don't know if you've run into that.
We have.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those
So
podcasts.
what are your tips?
I think, like you said, is try and get them to talk, finding what they're passionate about because they want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, the yes or no questions. Yeah. I mean, when they answer yes or no, it's it's just kind of a follow up. Like it's just ask the same question a different way, like how can I try and elicit a little bit more? But
yes,
we've been really lucky with guests. We can't complain too much. I mean, I out of the, we're 120 some episodes in now. And
wow.
I can count on one hand, the episodes that I would consider.
We have been lucky, but
yeah,
been a couple.
So,
and do most of the people come to you, or do you guys book them yourself?
No, we book ourselves. We got really lucky early on. I was in a Facebook group, like a podcast Facebook group, and Deborah Driggs, who was a former Playmate, was in there and saying that she was willing to come on podcasts. And I contacted her right away, and she was like our first kind of big guest. We had a friend of ours who's a comedian,
for fun.
But so she was like episode like 13 or 14. And we never really had plans of doing guests like that. It was always just going to be him and I. But once we got into that circle, the ladies from Playboy are so wonderful. And once we had the one on, we'd reach out to them and all of them were, yeah, we'll do it. So, and that just kind of built on to other people. And yeah, so we've been lucky, I don't know how we fell into it, but knock on wood.
But they all had, stories to sell tell because they weren't selling anything. But they were very supportive of each other. That was the biggest thing that we took away is that there were no catfighting behind the scenes. They were very supportive of each other and, hey, you should have this one on. This is good, and it just worked out great. But they were to feel the love, and they kept saying their sisterhood, and things like that. And it wasn't just BS. They were really meant it.
Yeah.
And that was neat to see.
Did they tell you about like what it was like at the Playboy Mansion? Oh yeah.
Yeah. We try to get, I mean, and most of them, I think just every Playmate we've had on has been a Hefner supporter. Some of them, kind of went and made a documentary about what a terrible guy he was. We have not talked to any of them that
we actually got blocked by one of them.
We did.
Oh no, really? Why?
We did.
Well,
we talked about it and we tagged her in something and she just blocked us. So, but that's fine. I mean,
which it is, but we gave her an opportunity to come on and tell her side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they were very supportive of each other. And like Dean said, they were all good stories, good stories that they had memories of the mansion, of Hef and how Hef each one of them got helped by Hef one way or another. And I'm not just meaning, money or anything, but just something that that stood out. And they all had a funny story, which was really fun to hear, and more than one. And then every one of them had a touching story about Hef.
Yeah.
That was neat as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when the documentary came out, then they wanted to talk about it. So the couple came back on, and we got blocked.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful.
But we strive very hard, as to what you were just saying about the podcast you're doing, to make it more conversation. And it can be difficult when you're talking to somebody for the first time, because obviously you're trying to establish, when we have a guest on like yourself, you're trying to go through, all the things you've done. But then you just try and, if when conversation comes out of it, you let it go. And, so
Yeah.
we don't have a
Definitely.
scripted list of questions to ask guests ever,
That's good. I don't like that.
Yeah,
No.
it's more just detail. Like we'll go through and details and
Highlight and then build off them.
Yeah.
Build off.
Because I know, like, when you interview, or when I've been interviewing different people, you have kind of a list, not necessarily in front of you, but like you do your homework, you see the questions you want to ask them and stuff, but they could say something
Yes.
and it totally goes a different direction. And you're like, well, that's what this is supposed to be.
yeah. But that's
the best. That's
right.
the
And
best.
that's what makes a good conversationalist over an interviewer, right? I mean, somebody who
Right.
can take that tangent and run with it instead of being like, oh, well, my next question was,
Well, yeah. And I can tell you, I've worked with talent where that would be one of my biggest pet peeves is you need to listen to, in this situation, the artist. Listen to the artist and what are they saying? They just, like, there was one time one of the on-air talents was interviewing someone, and this artist like was opening up about like mental health or something, and they just brushed over it and was like kind of reading the list. And so we were talking about later, I'm like, oh my gosh, you had the perfect opportunity, in their defense. A lot of times, there's a lot of people in the room, you're thinking like, I got to do this and that, and so maybe you're not fully listening. But that's when you get the best stories, is when you're listening, you pick up on something and you go that way.
yeah.
Sure.
And I think that's why I never wanted to have questions written down, because I didn't want to be
Yeah.
looking down to read
Yep.
what, because I'm going to miss the good part.
Right.
Well, I
exactly.
think your dad, right?
Yeah.
Your dad kind of hit it. Listen,
Yeah.
one of his critiques, I'll call them.
One of the many.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's your job to let them tell their story, right? Not you to tell it for them.
So,
Right.
but speaking of your dad, what was the best advice he ever gave you?
I had early on in my career, I had a PD, a manager, who was horrible. I thought. I mean, I was a kid. What did I know? They were probably
Right,
great.
right.
But I was probably like 18 or 19, and they were just riding my ass, just horrible. And I would call my dad for advice, and he goes, "Here's what I'm going to say to you," because he wanted, you need to listen to your manager. I'm not your manager. You need to listen to him. But he said, one thing I'll tell you is you learn from the bad ones, what type of manager you don't want to be, and then you learn from the good ones the type of manager you want to be.
Sure.
So that was one. And then always answer every email, every phone call, everyone that calls, whether they're the highest person in the company or someone you don't even know. You always treat people with kindness.
Well, there's a reason he's
and-
around for 30 years, right?
Well, yeah, and one of the things everyone that comes up to me is like, "Oh my gosh, your dad was amazing, and he would always return my phone calls and took time with me and stuff." And so that says something.
It does.
People, he really did what he said. So
Yeah.
So being that 18, 19-year-old kid, was there ever a time you're like, yeah, I know my dad, he's great, I get it, or did you just enjoy the compliment?
What's funny is I didn't really get it. So I was in Flagstaff, Arizona, working my first radio job. I mean, it was like you had to sign off at midnight. You had to go outside if the snow hit the satellite and sweep it off, and you had to do this transmitter stuff. I mean, it was like a whole ordeal. And my dad was in a major market in Phoenix, but I didn't realize like who he was. I just knew he was my dad and he worked in radio.
Right.
And so I was in the studio. I was getting ready to go on the air, and the guy that was on the air, getting ready to end his shift, had a magazine there, and it was like the CMA magazine, Country Music Association magazine or something. And so I read the back, and it's just like a handwritten letter. And I'm like, this guy's the president. He can't even write Well, it was my dad's. And I'm like, my dad's left-handed and has like what a doctor, you know, they say the doctor's penmanship. And so I was teasing. I'm like, I go, wait, that's my dad. And he goes, your dad's Larry Daniels? I'm like, yeah, do you know him? He's like, yeah.
Everybody
So
knows
then
him.
I was, yeah, I didn't realize. I'm like, well, I just know because he grounds me all the time, but, you know. So yeah, I didn't really know, and then I started kind of figuring it out because I grew up around it. And I just thought, oh, you know, you go to
Yeah.
concerts as a kid, you be in parades, and you know,
That's what everybody does.
Are you saying you were a troublemaker as a child? If he's grounding you all the time? Is that...
I was grounded all the time.
Yeah.
And it was usually for talking.
Oh,
Or
well,
pulling a prank at school. I pulled so many pranks at school, which by the way, they were pretty good.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You-
Like,
Yeah.
we what's your best one?
I don't know if this is my best one, but my brothers are 10 and 8 years older than me.
Okay.
So they gave me a stink bomb. Right. So I'm in choir class. And remember, we're in Arizona. So it's like, it had to be like March or something. And as we're leaving, I throw the stink bomb and the teacher shuts the doors. The AC was off, whatever. She comes back like 2 hours later for the next class because she had lunch and whatever. And it reeks. I mean, it reeks so bad. They had to move all the classes and everything. So they sat all of us in there. And it was like, I think we were going into 8th grade or 7th grade. And we were supposed to go on a trip. Like that was your graduation thing. We all went to San Diego Zoo or something. And so they're like, we want to know who did this. And so I'm like looking around, like, yeah, we want to know, you know, like trying to like play like it wasn't me. And so then they started saying, well, we're going to take away the trip if, you know, no one answers. And then the guilt got me and I'm like, I did it. And so this is how crazy it was. Normally, if you're going to put a kid in school suspension, you do it right then.
Yeah.
Right. So they're like, we're going to put you in school suspension. I think it was going to be the next day, actually. And I go, it was a Friday. And I go, well, I'm having balloons delivered for my friend Lisa's birthday party. Can we move it to Monday? Like I'm telling them, and they're like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So that weekend, I had my mom take me like and get like all these cool things that I could do while I was in school suspension. And they put me in like what was the nursery at the church that or the music room because it had a piano in there. And at the time I played piano. I had walkie-talkies, so I gave them to my friends. And then I'm like, this is the greatest day ever. I got to do whatever. I didn't have, you know, I mean, no one checked on me.
Yeah.
I got to talk on the walkie-talkie with my friends. It was so much fun.
I loved in school suspension days, and I had plenty of them myself.
Yeah,
so.
What'd you do?
just a few.
Oh, I just never went to school. So then when I finally went there, I'm like, all right, fine. So I liked in school suspension better than classes. So
Why didn't you go to school?
high school was not my thing. Then I went off to like technical college, and then I did, you know, once I was
Great.
studying something I wanted to study, I was fine. But high school was just so boring. So
I
I
had a
think-
blast.
Oh, you loved high school.
Well, just because I effed off a lot. It was
Yeah.
where the people were. It's where, you know, like
we
you
can
said.
swear we're more than 7 seconds in.
I know. We're with a lady.
You know what? I loved high school because I was in sports, had all my friends.
I like to go there socialize. That's what I did. I didn't study. I didn't like it. I socialized. Where were we going to party tonight?
Right.
Look, talk to the girls. You know, I mean, that's why I went.
I do remember my chemistry teacher. No, my biology teacher. He was the same person, but he was also the football coach. So I went to a private Christian school, right?
Okay.
And I would come in and they wanted you know how you had to dissect frogs
The frog,
and stuff. I'm
yeah.
like, I'm not doing that. I'm just not. It's gross. And he's like, well, you're not doing very well in this class. I'm like, well, I know I'm not doing well. And he told me I brought him cookies and I offered to take roll if he would pass me. And so he did. He goes, you won't be good in, you know, you won't do anything in the biology world, but you'll make one heck of a housewife. And I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Great.
I bet a teacher couldn't say that today.
No.
Oh, no, not at all.
I do recall one time being a friend got suspended. It wasn't in school suspension. We just got suspended for 2 days. So we took that day to go in the school parking lot with a grill and coolers of near beer. So we sat out there grilling brats and burgers and drinking near beer. Well, kids
Right.
were going in and out. We made sure we were there before school, and
That's awesome.
yeah, the principal came out and he's like, you guys can't be on school property, and this is school property.
Right.
So we're like, okay, so we moved to like the right where the parking lot ended. We set up there, and he's just like, oh. And then he heard we had
what's he gonna
beer,
do?
so he came out and he opened one, and we're like, it's not actual beer, it's near beer,
Right.
He just was like, it's nothing I can do. Have a nice
right.
night, He was just fed up with us. But yeah, we just sat there all day in lawn chairs with her in the sun, grilling. Anybody that came by, we'd give them a brat and a burger, and
You made everyone's day.
we did. They got in a lot of trouble because they're like, get back to class. Teachers are coming out like, get back to class. Yeah, so that was
funny.
fun.
The good
That's
old
what I
days.
mean. I had fun things like that. I did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything I got in trouble for, I ended up getting paid for later in life.
Perfect.
You're talking too much, Chrissy. Things like that.
Yeah.
Practical jokes. Nothing bad, though. It was just fun stuff.
Right.
Well, that's just it. It was
Right.
nothing, malicious. It was just fun. And it's good to see that, and wouldn't have anticipated you being a jokester back in the day. So it's
I
fun
looked
to
like
hear.
a boy
Oh,
for the longest. No, I'm not joking. As a matter of fact, they were filming one of the Gambler movies in Arizona with Kenny Rogers and like Linda Evans.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And one of the guys that worked at the radio station who was on the air was an actor, and his daughter and wife were going to be extras in the movie. And they're like, does Chrissy want to go? And I'm like, yeah, I want to go. I want to be in movies. So I show up. My mom had chopped all my hair up off, I think like right after I was 5. I always looked like a boy. Everyone thought I was a boy. They called me that, everything. They thought my brothers had a little brother. And I show up and they're like, okay, you're going to play a boy. And I'm like, well, I'm a girl. And they're like, yeah, you're going to play a boy. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I will never, ever have short hair ever again.
So are you in the movie?
Yeah, I'm a boy.
You're
I play like, I play like, you see, I have dark hair, and I'm playing like, and it was so hot too. They had like flour sack pants, and it's in August in Arizona. It's like 115 degrees in the desert. And I'm playing like this stickball game. I think it's supposed to be from the Old West or something. You
Yeah,
see me
sure.
running around, and my mom pulls my ear because I got in trouble. I don't know. It was
All
fun.
right.
It was the most fun ever because you got paid.
Yeah.
What no kid would get paid. You got craft food, and then like I went and hung out because Kenny Rogers was there, and I went and talked to him for a while, and it was just awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm watching that movie now.
I was gonna look it up.
Yes.
It's got to be here, right?
Yeah. You did you do any other acting?
Not really. The only thing I originally wanted to be an actress, and when I told my dad, he said, you and a million other people.
Sure.
What do you really want to do? So I mean, in his defense, he was right. But I've done mostly like commercials, not really acting, just like voicing or hosting. And then like I've done a lot of voice work and voiceovers and imaging for stations and stuff. There was one which I wish I had a long time ago. I did a voice for a Japanese anime, but it was like the English version, and I'm like, and it was so much fun, and I'm like, why didn't I save that?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
You have a great voice.
Oh, thanks. It's I have allergies right now, so it's kind of like.
I have a young daughter who is starting to get into anime, and she was just watching one of these animes with English overdubs.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I was listening to you.
Yeah, you maybe so. My son, one of my sons, is really into that and into movies and being a YouTuber, and
Yeah. Oh yeah. I get
real.
it. I get it.
We all get it.
Yeah.
It's all our thing.
Yeah.
Is your podcast going to be on like YouTube and things?
Yes, it's
You
on
feel
there
you
right
wanna-
now. It's on there. It's Conversations with Kris, KRIS.
All
So I
right.
have
okay.
I interviewed Kip Moore, the country singer. I interviewed do you know Leanne Morgan, the
Yeah.
comedian?
Yep.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have that. I have Hannah Dasher on there, who is phenomenal. If I don't know if you're on TikTok, she's a country singer, but she's blown up on TikTok.
Okay.
So
All right.
yeah. So the one that I could kick myself. So most of my Zooms when I do them, like I'm sure you guys have it set, it just starts recording.
You're good.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I know where
Okay.
this is going.
So I'm interviewing Bert Kreischer.
Oh,
Okay. And this is by the way, this is the second time I interviewed him because I had him in the studio when my son was he had to be under 2 because he turned us off the airplane with his Thomas the Trains. It was not professional. It was like last minute I had to bring my sick kid into the office, which I don't know why I was bringing a sick kid in. But anyways, it was a long story. So I'm seeing Bert and I haven't seen him since then. And I was bringing up that story. He goes, I remember that because so we're having this amazing conversation.
Yeah.
He obviously doesn't have a shirt on. His daughter walks behind the podcast and just starts talking. And he's like, oh, she doesn't care. Like, she's like, so like over whatever. So 40 minutes later, we're wrapping up. Great to see you. I decided to take a picture like with my phone, just kind of showing, and I look stupid in it, so I'll never post it. But whatever the deal was, I get done, it never recorded.
Yeah.
I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. He told me some amazing things. I'm like, have you guys done that yet?
Twice.
yeah.
So you know.
Twice.
Well,
Actually,
we know. Yes.
The first one I was talking about with Deborah Driggs, our first playmate. I forgot to hit the record button.
Yeah.
So that's audio only. And then the second
we did
time,
get, the audio, but we didn't.
Yeah,
get
we had the audio.
We didn't get the video.
Wait, do you run it through like Adobe as well for backup audio?
I don't know.
At the time,
So
though, we
it
had to.
recorded it just recorded. See, mine recorded nothing.
Okay. Yeah, we have like a Zoom, like a T4, whatever they call these things to record the audio.
Yes.
And then so we're recording the audio through. Yeah. Anyway, so we had the audio from the episode, but yeah, then I did it a second time with an actor, Pat Cupo, and he's from Vegas. Yeah,
from Vegas.
He was nice enough to do a retake, like a full retake.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
It was super nice.
Yeah.
And because like you said, we were talking and he had great stories.
Yeah.
He just been in the movie business for
40 years.
40 years. And he just had great stories and we had a great time with him. And then it's like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So super nice. He's like, sure, I'll do it again.
And the nice thing is, like I said, with, the first time you talk to somebody, like now the second time we're talking to him, I think it went better because now we have that. We got that rapport a little bit. Everything is familiar and everything just went really smoothly. So I think we got a better podcast out of it. But
yeah,
luckily for us, he was nice enough to do it a second time. Not everybody would do that.
Nice.
Did you ask Bert if he wanted to do it again?
Well, I went through. I went through. Like this promoter reaches out to me. And so I told him, I'm like, I blamed it on Zoom because I didn't want to look like a total idiot. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know what happened. Zoom, like it didn't like save it or whatever. And I was like, can we do it again? And he was like, well, unfortunately, that was the only time he had. He was coming to Louisville and I voice tracked for a station out there, the station I used to be on. And so now I'm like, gosh, I want to go back because, I don't want to sound like an idiot next time I talk to him. Hey, none of that recorded. Can we pretend we have this conversation again about my kid turning the radio station off? And, but he's funny.
Yeah. We're big fans.
I think you could mention it to him. He'd be okay with it. I think you would think so. I really do. I think he'd be fine with it.
I mean, with as much as Bert loves to talk about himself, I'm sure he'd be fine doing the story.
Yes, he knows how. I mean, he knows how to.
Yes,
he's one you don't have to worry about. Like we were talking before, there is no no answers for him.
I did interview this one comedian. I'm not going to say his name. I haven't posted it yet, and I don't know if I'm going to. It was like. He was he's funny. He's really funny. But, I think he probably was like, oh, stupid radio people, maybe possibly, in his defense, we are sometimes really stupid. But he was like, it's really hard to like, get a read to get him going. And then everything he said was like almost scripted.
Okay.
Almost scripted, like from what he does in his stand up. And that's not I don't want that. I mean,
Right.
we can all see that. But then towards the end, he started to get a little better. It was just awkward. I guess
Yeah.
awkward would be the
Gotcha.
word.
Okay.
Where
Yeah.
Leanne Morgan, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She's just from the get-go. She's just amazing.
She's got a new special on Netflix that just came out pretty recently, didn't it?
Yeah, that's why I was interviewing her
Okay.
to promote that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll check that one out. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I mean, Netflix has we're big comedy fans, so
Oh, so you'd love it. Yeah.
yeah, Netflix has so many comedy specials now that it's
What's
hard
your
to.
favorite so far?
I'm a huge Tom Segura fan.
I'm just gonna say
Okay.
Tom Segura
Yeah. Tom Segura. I love
live is one of my favorite.
Tony Hinchcliffe's it wasn't really supposed to be a special. It was recorded at the Comedy Store like the night that they closed down before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And he happened to be recording it, and there's some great interaction with the
Oh my
crowd that gets a little
gosh.
heated. And Tony, if you know Tony Hinchcliffe at all, he's not afraid to say anything. So
right.
it was it's a good comedy special. And Adam Ray just put out a new one too that I really enjoyed.
So I will tell you, if you're comedy fans, when I lived in Bakersfield, I think it was the second time, one of my friends, he was working in sales at the radio station, but then he was starting as a promoter. And I remember, and he was doing like certain concerts. Like I went to a Chingy concert with him. There were some comedians. For some reason, he was getting involved in comedians. And we went to the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
And we saw Chris Rock because he was practicing to host, what was it, the Grammys? It was like the first time he had ever hosted this, I believe. And we saw him, and I went outside and I stood next to him. I don't know why I didn't get a picture, but he was shorter than I thought.
Yeah.
Super funny. But I'm 5'9", so maybe that's normal. But obviously super funny. But it was really cool to see like him in that element, because it wasn't like he was practicing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then my friend ended up leaving and started his own promoting company. And then he ended up becoming, I think it was like the vice president for comedy with Live Nation. And then he left, and now he is Fluffy's manager.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Gabriel Iglesias.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wow.
So he's really into that comedy world.
Yeah.
It's so big.
It is.
It's not. And that's my hardest thing. I go to Netflix and I'm like, well, did I watch that one already?
Right.
Oh, well, I'll try it again.
Right.
Can't go wrong.
I do that with music documentaries.
Yeah.
Sure.
Over and over and over again. I got to ask you,
see
speaking of pictures with celebrities, I saw a picture of you with Aaron Rodgers
Yes.
at the Kentucky Derby. Is that where you?
Yep. You know what's funny? I've interviewed all these different people, and my 13-year-old son, who's all into sports, saw that picture and was like, "You interviewed Aaron Rodgers?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know who he is?" He's like, duh. Who doesn't?" Yes, I forgot you guys are in.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. He was the nicest guy.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Super nice.
That's cool. Yeah.
Now that he's gone.
I have no hard feelings. I'm not
Right.
I could care less that he's a Jet now. I
Right.
wish him all the best. So
Now, did you like him when he was there?
yeah. Oh yeah. No, I think he's a great guy. I
Yeah.
do. I like I've seen him on podcasts with like Aubrey Marcus, and I love that he's free to be himself in a world that, he's not your typical NFL quarterback. So,
Right.
and he's not ashamed of it. And I like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not hiding anything.
no, he's not. And he
No.
knows he gets a lot of shit for it, and he's still, so
Could care less.
I
That's
think
the
you
best
have
part.
to tune that out. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because
Yeah.
think of how many, like as celebrities, like how many people are saying they either love you or hate you.
right.
You're
Right.
going to get both. And so at some point, I think you would be like driven crazy if you actually cared.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm sure they, every once in a while they feel it, but you're right. They I'm sure they must have to.
Yeah. There's so much
Yeah.
he's got to feel it, but that's why he does all this stuff.
So
Yeah.
Get away from it.
who's your dream guest for your podcast?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds bad. I should know, but I haven't. I've been thinking on the programming side of me, right? Is thinking all mechanical and everything, and it would be someone. I've interviewed everyone in country.
Sure.
And I love the country community because they're all very nice.
Yeah.
You know, I think for me, it would be something that I would normally not interview.
Okay.
So maybe not necessarily a celebrity, maybe someone that, okay, no, I do know one. Hold on.
All right.
He's a
Perfect.
comedian, and he's really hot right now. You know who
What?
I'm talking about.
Hot, like good looking.
No, like
Oh.
everyone wants Matt.
Matt Rife.
So you think he's ugly?
Yes. No. I don't think he's ugly. I don't. You know what? It's funny. I think
He's very hot
funny.
right now.
Yes, he's very hot, and that's what I meant. Like hot, like everyone wants to interview him. So I would like to get an interview with someone like that because
He's hooked up with Ashton Kutcher to
Yes.
support his tour, and it's like booked for 2 years or something ridiculous like that.
What'd you just say?
Ridiculous.
yes,
Said ridiculous.
crazy.
But yeah, he's brutal too. His interactions with
Yes.
fans he's not afraid to say anything
No.
at all either, and he likes to push and push and push.
Yeah,
So he's funny,
yeah, he is funny. He
and
would
he's
be
hot.
one.
I mean, let's not lie. He's a hot.
Yeah, but you know what? I think he's yes, you're correct. But I think at the same time, when I see him, I'm thinking business wise,
Yeah.
he's funny.
He is. He started on a kids show too.
I know who I want to interview.
He's
Rip.
a TikToker, I thought. What's
No,
that?
he
Yeah, he
started
is.
on some.
Rip.
He started on some show. He was on a show when he was younger, and then
Oh,
Oh.
I'll have
I
to
just
Google
saw
that.
it. Yeah,
Like a Disney show.
maybe like a talent
Nickelodeon?
show. He was goofy as a little kid. Maybe
Oh.
Nickelodeon.
I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
I would like to interview Rip,
Who?
the guy from Yellowstone.
Haven't.
You guys watch Yellowstone?
I don't.
No, I do not.
No.
We're the only
Okay.
two in the world, I guess.
Yes.
We've been well, my wife, girlfriend, and I have been talking about it. We just haven't started it.
Okay, so Rip is like the hot guy,
Okay.
the hot manly man on this show.
Okay. All right.
So,
Oh,
but he's very interesting. What's interesting is he's actually also, actually a rancher.
okay.
Like, I mean, he's an actor, but he does really do cowboy stuff. So that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, you get a lot of women that would want to watch it.
Right. Well, that's we find
We're-
that out. We find that out.
We're
that,
kind of in the other way. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll bring on the occasional hot gal, and
Right,
because guys want to watch that.
right.
yeah, we notice the drop in viewers when we have guys on instead of ladies.
Really?
So. Oh yeah. Well, if you can believe like YouTube analytics and all that good stuff, like 90% of our viewers are male. So
Oh, I can see that.
yeah.
That's your demographic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we don't care. We get the guests we want to talk to,
Exactly.
and
Right.
some of them get views, some of them don't. It is what it is.
Right.
So,
And we'll do some local. We know they're not going to be
yeah.
people in California aren't going to give a shit, so they're just going to skip
Right.
over it. But we want to talk to them, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically all it is. Just find people we want to talk to and talk to them. That's
Great.
Yeah. And we have you can't go wrong that way. You have a great time every time then with the conversation. It's not,
Right.
we're not being forced to talk to people we don't have any interest in talking to. And so,
And that's the thing. It is, at the end of the day, it is a conversation.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah,
just
you hope
happens
it
to have
is.
video. Yes. Yes.
You hope
I've
it
had
is.
some that weren't.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have to ask, because when you messaged, you said that you're new to the bikini and selfie picture
Yeah.
posting game. Is there plans to take this further?
Well, it's so interesting because if you see and I call it my business, Kris Daniels, what is it? Kris Daniels Kris Daniels on air, whatever, on Instagram.
Yep.
It's my kids. It's like stuff work related. And I would always post, and my husband would be like, enchiladas. I'm a very good cook.
All
Okay.
right.
And I would post enchiladas, and I would get like 2 likes, probably my mom and, maybe someone else. And I'm like,
I would have liked it if I saw it. I love a good
Yeah.
enchilada. So
yes. And I'm very proud of him. But when I would post a picture of just me in an outfit or a bikini, then all of a sudden I had like 10,000 followers. And the funny thing is at one point I was, I did some bikini modeling, so
Sure.
it doesn't bother me. But my whole thought is, look, I'm not 20. I'm not trying to be 20, but I'm older. I've had 3 kids. I work out, and I'm proud of the way I look. And I think that there shouldn't be that stigma, because I think, and to be honest, it's women that put it on yourselves. We put that own stigma, like, oh my gosh, why is she wearing that? I mean, I don't, because I'm like, good for her. She looks great,
Right. Which it should
and
be. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just how I am. To be honest, I had to dress up in the corporate world, and I'm very uncomfortable in that. Sometimes some of the outfits are super cute. I'm more Daisy Dukes, bikini top,
Yeah.
cowboy boots or heels or whatever. That's really me. The trashy look is for lack of a better term. So I just felt comfortable. And so I started posting more, and I'm like, you know what? I'm getting more traction here than my enchiladas.
Yes.
What? Can you believe it?
Yeah.
What is wrong with this world?
What is wrong with it? If you ate the enchiladas, you would like it.
I 100% believe that.
Imagine the lady from the Chrissy D page though serving me the enchiladas. That's, I mean, best
So
of both worlds.
maybe that's the next thing when I make my tamales at Christmas time.
There you go.
I'll have a picture with tamales in a bikini.
Perfect.
I have to tell you, our 2 most viewed episodes that we've ever done are both with 40-plus-year-old models. They're both gorgeous ladies. They have kids. They're, one of them's actually in Nashville. And yeah, they're our 2 most watched episodes. So
wow.
I mean, and
they post bikinis and
I mean,
and less, but they do.
Yeah,
they're very comfortable, as you said. They're just
Yeah.
You can tell when someone's comfortable as you are in all the pictures, as opposed to someone that's not comfortable. So
the only time I get uncomfortable is if I don't have makeup on, which is the majority of the time, because I'm not, there's a girlfriend, and I actually had her on my podcast. She's amazing. She is a makeup artist, and she literally can transform herself into looking like Marilyn Monroe. And she has dark hair. Like you would not say, oh, she looks like Marilyn Monroe, but she's that good at makeup. So we were talking about makeup, and I'm like, gosh, it's got to be so easy for you. Like you can wake up, you know how to do hair and makeup. And me, it's like, now I can shoot a shotgun and I will hit the target. That I can do.
Nice.
I can do any tomboy thing out there. Makeup, hair, no. So that's a struggle I face, but
sure. Well, obviously people are responding to your page very well. I think when we first started following your page, you were 1,000 followers, and you're over 10,000 now. Last time I looked,
13, I thought 13 or so.
Yeah. And it's crazy too, because it's all, and I knew this from, especially when you do mornings, you have to be consistent with your posts and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I noticed being consistent, getting back to people, talking to them and stuff, that's really helped a lot. But, and I mean, I'm not going to lie, it helps your confidence. That's for sure. It's like, oh, wow.
Sure.
Mama still got it. Maybe
1,000%.
Which is always nice to hear. It's always nice to hear.
Yeah. Now, do you have any fans or any plans to take it further and do like an OnlyFans thing, or is it the?
I don't know. I don't think, like, I wouldn't do, and I don't really know a whole lot about OnlyFans.
Yeah.
What I know is probably not what it really is. Like I'm thinking,
it's got a bad stigma, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a lot of stuff that's not me. So I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to doing bikini stuff, but that's about it, because at the same time I do have kids.
Right.
I have a career in media and stuff. So, but I'll walk down the street in a bikini. I don't care. That's not, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think as a society, we've kind of allowed that to be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But being from Arizona, it's so hot. Like everyone wears hardly anything.
Yeah. You're wearing a bikini, you're wearing too much.
Yeah.
Which we're not used to in Wisconsin. So
no.
Yeah, you guys aren't. No.
I mean, it's June, whatever, and it's 55 degrees out there tonight. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, we've had a couple of real cold days. So
yeah.
Not normally
in our summer, but that's all right.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yep. I'm just looking behind you, and both my daughter. I'm assuming that's an autograph picture of Dolly Parton behind you.
So that is an old school plaque that they used to give out. Like, I don't have any of my gold records up in here. Like I have a well, I have a bunch. I mean, 20 years, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But this is what they would give radio people, like music directors or program directors, for, you know, spinning Dolly's song, whatever. So that's my dad's. I have 3 of them. I have a Waylon,
Oh, wow.
I have Dolly, and then I have Ronnie Millsap, who, by the way, did autograph it, but I think it came off. So yeah, that's her. And I've met her several times. The nicest, most wonderful lady in the world.
Yeah.
Both my daughters and myself love her, and that's it. We're waiting for her to tour so we can go see her.
Yes, you got to go to Dollywood.
And that's on the list too. But
I love Dollywood. She was there, I think it was a week after we were there. And then there's an antique store here. So I live like in Mount Juliet, which is outside of Nashville, home of Charlie Daniels.
Okay.
And I was going to go into this antique store because I always go in there like on a Friday, whatever. And I didn't go. She went in.
Oh.
And was just, they did a whole article, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's when I would have been there. What am I doing?
Oh.
I always say,
cool.
if you don't hesitate, just do it. Just do stuff.
She's a great example of, like, someone asked her one time, you know, what do you say when people say you're just a dumb blonde? She goes, well, I know I'm not dumb, and I definitely know I'm not blonde. She's like, you know, she's like, she said her image, she based it off of the local tramp.
Right. Yeah.
The tramps and the hairdo and the mag. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And she's proud of it. And I love it. And her honesty and her, she's a joy to listen to. She's got a beautiful voice.
Yeah.
I love her voice, and I love her songwriting, and
smart.
Her interviews are so amazing.
Oh, I know.
Have you been starstruck in any of your meetings with anybody? Anybody just kind of?
So country, no, because I've grown up around it. But I will tell you, I love rock as well. And we were at a restaurant, and this was before we moved here. I think we were living in Vegas at the time. And my husband and I were at this restaurant, the Palm.
Okay.
And when you go to Nashville, if you go to the Palm, you'll usually run into Keith Urban. You can run into anyone. You never know. And so I went to the bathroom, and I came back, and my husband came up to me and goes, do not go full Germ. I'm like, why? He goes, Jack White is sitting at the end. I'm like, oh my God. He's like, I already told you, don't go Germ. And you're already started. I'm like, I have to say something. He goes, no, you don't. He's trying to enjoy his dinner. So I'm walking by, and he's at the last booth, and he's facing me. And I made eye contact with him. Like, I know who you are, but I'm not going to freak out. And he made eye contact at me. And this is how it went in my head. He made eye contact with me and was like, yeah, it's cool. And I was like, so I didn't Germ out.
Oh, yeah.
Kings of Leon.
Did you talk to him?
No.
No. Okay. So you just made eye contact.
Enjoy his dinner. I just made eye contact. I had a conversation in my head.
Perfect.
But then I think it was a couple months ago, we were there again. And it's always my husband that finds them. And he comes back, he goes, oh, Kings of Leon's over there. I'm like, what? He's like, stop.
He's just got to stop telling you.
Right.
Yes. So that's the place you got to go, the Palm.
Oh, okay.
We were just in Nashville back in October.
Oh, were you?
Did we think about the Palm? Was it ever mentioned? I don't think it was.
Where'd you guys go?
All down on Broadway.
Oh, yeah. Well, so the Palm's right around the corner. It's right across from where the Predators play. Bridgestone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I never.
What was your favorite bar?
Nudie Honky Tonk.
Mm.
I love the Mellow
Nudies.
Mushroom too.
The Mellow Mushroom was fun
because it's more of a rock bar. So, and I'm more of a rock guy than country guy. But and there's that. We were at that
Legends. I really liked on the corner.
Legends is cool.
Legends, yeah.
But we were at that like jazz bluesy bar that was like kind of, but it's not. It's down like in the Painters Alley.
Yeah, Printers Alley.
Printers Alley.
Yeah, that was fun. Printers Alley.
That
was a lot
place
of fun.
is cool.
Yeah.
You know, so my favorite on Lower Broad is Roberts.
Okay.
Because you can have like food, like a grilled cheese and beer, and watch old school country. But then a lot of locals, if they go out, will go like to Printers Alley or Midtown.
Sure.
So Midtown has winners and losers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a fun one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, I mean, we never really left Broadway for much.
No, not really.
So we went on
Well,
a.
not when you come here. That's what you do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It was my first time, so I was got to see it all.
Yay.
Got to go to it
Did
all.
you go to Kid Rock's bar?
We thought we saw a table on the third floor open, so we
I
walked
think it was
all the way
the
up the
fifth
stairs.
floor.
So we walked all the way up the stairs, and it wasn't open. So there was.
Yeah.
I mean, the place was packed.
So packed.
Packed.
Yeah.
So
We were there when a friend came into town. It's similar to like living in Vegas. Let's go downtown. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, it's like an Uber. You know, it takes forever. So we were there packed. We got an area along the rail.
Yeah.
And then I look over and there's these two grown ass men like brawling.
Oh.
Yeah. And this is how bad I am. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get out my phone and put this record it. But I
Content.
didn't. Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. But it was over like pretty quick. And it was like
Okay.
something dumb. Like really, I
there's-
mean, I'm sure.
There's
it's always over something dumb
Yes.
or a girl.
There's an Instagram or TikTok page devoted to the brawls on 6th Street in Austin, Texas. That's all it is videos of the brawls on 6th Street. So
That's great.
yeah, and it's like they're posting new ones every week. It's insane.
I gotta follow that one.
Yeah. So just people recording fights outside. Because apparently there's just a lot of fighting.
Yeah, must be.
Man.
There was a lot of neat bars. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we just wanted to hit so many that we were kind of in 1-2 drinks and move on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we stayed at Legends for a little while.
Yeah.
I really like the back part of it, Legends.
Mhm.
Yes.
You know, the
Yeah.
upstairs kind of. But
Yeah.
Did you guys go to any rooftops?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We hit yeah. Well, I was there in February and October.
Lambert's
so,
one. We went to the rooftop there.
Miranda Lambert's.
Oh,
Miranda.
Miranda's. Yeah.
That was a cute bar. It was because it
Yeah.
was so I don't know what's the word. It was so bright and shiny, and it was I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So we went up that one. Alan Jackson's, we went to the top.
Oh, so that's one of our favorites because it's never packed.
Yeah.
And you can go to the top and you can see everyone,
Mhm.
you know, on Lower Broadway and stuff.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites too. I just liked it because it was more old school and it wasn't fancy at all.
Well, next time you go back, so I don't know, did you hear the story about the woman who wanted her ashes there?
No.
Okay, I actually, let me back it up. So this woman passes away and her last wish was to have her ashes scattered on Alan Jackson's property. Now, she
Okay.
doesn't know Alan Jackson.
Sure.
She's just a huge fan. Well, obviously, Alan Jackson's probably like, I appreciate the thought, but I don't really know you. So he was like, I have a better idea. Why don't we put her ashes in the bar? So she's in the bar. So I think it was last time I was there. I asked him, I go, hey, where's the lady's ashes who are here? And she's like, that is so weird. You're like the third person that's asked me. None of us know.
Oh,
So she's there. Someone knows, or they're not saying, you know.
okay.
They got tipped over into the garbage can or something.
Somebody spilled it and they're like,
Probably, yeah. But yeah, she was a huge Alan Jackson fan. So
so she wanted to be like scattered on the floor?
she wanted to be scattered on his property
His
Oh,
actual
like
where-
his house.
where he lives.
Oh, I guess
So
that
that's
bar in my
why-
head. I'm like, I don't know. I guess you could spread her out a little on each floor. I don't know.
No.
Do the soft shoe on it, you know.
peanut shells on
right.
the
Put
floor.
sand down and
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's why. So he was like, how about my bar?
okay. All right.
Yeah, that seems like a wise move. You'd have people trying to. All of a sudden, you'd have a pile of ashes like this tall in there.
Yes. Or people trying to visit that you don't know. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
No.
well, I would definitely go back, so I'm gonna have to ask.
Yeah, you'll have to ask now. See if you find it.
Right?
And then can I reserve a spot for me next to it?
Where's that lady?
Right. It was, yeah, you can Google it because it was like, it
Okay.
was in show prep.
All right, I'm gonna look that up. I
So,
gotta see what
some of the
that's
people, I tell you.
about. Yeah.
So the next step for plans for the podcast, more people. I know you talked about guests from your past. Did you
Yeah.
talk maybe some people that were on your show with you with
Yeah, I
stories of
am.
behind the scenes? You ever think of that or?
I think I will do that. I have about, I think I have 5 up right now. And then I need to go in and I have several I interviewed this lady who's like a fitness, I don't want to say instructor. She's like pretty like higher up than that, if that makes sense. I don't even know what her title is, but she was really amazing. She lives in Hawaii. And then I did talk to an OnlyFans
Hmm.
because I was fascinated, like, and since you guys have talked to some, maybe you can tell me if this, how this sounds. So I didn't want to cross the line
Yeah.
and just get right in, like, hey, okay, so tell me, what are you really doing? I didn't want to get like that, but
Sure.
I was talking to her, and it was just fascinating because she was like a stay-at-home mom,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she's very attractive and everything. And so from, my world, that's like totally different. So it was very interesting to have a conversation with her. So I haven't posted that yet because, as you know, what I try to do is I go in and I'll edit
Yeah.
everything, and not everything, but I'll go in and edit, like trim it up a little bit, like the beginning and end. And then I try to take a clip of it and then put it on like TikTok or
Sure.
whatever.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
again, I haven't promoted anyone to go listen to my podcast yet because I was trying to get several episodes up, but it is on YouTube. So like I said, I'm looking for people that are like I would love to talk to a spy, but I mean, they can't talk, they
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
tell you
Well,
anything.
we
Although
had, we
I
had
do know a friend that's a former something drug informant or something.
Yeah.
that's how much of a spy they are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Top secret.
Yes. Did you guys interview someone like that?
Yeah. We had a spy, and then she's retired and wrote a book.
Yeah. Yeah. Brittany
Really?
Butler.
So
Yeah. And we're talking to another former spy. She has a book as well, Tracy Walden. We're going to talk to her in a couple of weeks. So
So if they have books, they can talk.
yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing,
Yes.
you need somebody who's trying to promote something, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, both Brittany's book was just coming out when she came on, and Tracy's has been out for a while, but yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I bet she was amazing to talk to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, some of the stories, and I mean, she can't even scratch the surface, but like it was funny to, like, a lot of stuff getting redacted. Well, no, that's Tracy's book that I was listening to, and a lot of stuff is redacted out of the book because Brittany's is a fiction novel based on kind of her experiences, whereas Tracy's is a nonfiction, and Tracy's a lot of information is redacted out of it. So the U.S. government obviously wasn't willing to let her write anything she wanted to write.
Right.
So,
how do you train for that?
I know, it's crazy. And when we talked to Brittany,
she was a fast track.
Yeah,
it was amazing to me how quickly she got to where she was.
Right.
Really?
Yeah. From kind of, it was not her intention.
College.
Yeah. It was like,
college, and
then took some classes, or just kind of like an intern kind of thing, and then just kept growing from there. But it was fast. I was amazed how quickly she got there. But they're like, we just boom, push you through, and if you can handle that, then we know you can kind of handle it in the field. So that kind of makes sense. But and then she was in for 9 years, and it was like, that's a lot, a lot of interrogations, a lot of traveling, and so
I would think your mind too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of like, is this real? Is this like, you've got to have a very strong mental capacity to handle that.
Yeah, to stay in your own head. Yeah,
she definitely did.
Yeah, for sure.
I couldn't have handled it, but
I'm gonna check those out.
There's a lot of interesting conversations out there, and I think that's the cool thing about podcasts like ours, like yours. We're not Joe Rogan, we're not Mark Maron, we're not these, but there are normal everyday people that have interesting stories to tell.
Right.
And, a Joe Rogan isn't going to hear that story. So we're the people who get to hear some of these awesome stories.
Right.
And it's, it's fun.
And we have no limits. Yeah. Like we said, we'll go to any field if we find it interesting.
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So there you go. Any category you want to hit, that's why I recommend doing it, because you're just going to enjoy it.
Yeah. So
I'm definitely going to hit the spy.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming on. Promote away. Tell them where you want them to find you on Instagram, if you want to tell them the podcast yet.
Yeah, you could go to it's Conversations with Kris, and you can find it on YouTube. Again, I don't think I have anyone that's viewed it. But maybe
Well, I'm going to go
myself.
subscribe as soon as we're
Yeah.
done. I'm going to go subscribe.
Yes.
So yeah,
You can subscribe. And then I'm gosh, what is my Instagram? Well, Chrissy D.
yeah. It's
And
But
then
that's underscore. Is it underscore
Yes.
Chrissy D underscore?
yeah, yes, underscore Chrissy
Yeah.
D underscore.
well, we'll
And
put it in
then-
the we'll put it in
We'll
the
put it in
links
the- but-
too.
yeah,
Sometimes those little things, it messes me up where I'm like,
Yeah,
I know it's.
I
then
know,
forget.
me too. I have to like look back. What am I again?
yeah, yeah. Right.
Yes. But thank you for having me on. This was fun.
Oh, thank
That was
you.
a
No, we
blast.
appreciate it. I love it. And anytime when you get things going, you want to come back and talk again, we're
I
more
will.
than- yeah,
We're more willing. Yeah, we just
And
enjoy.
and you guys will have to come on my podcast.
yeah, absolutely. We'd love to. We'd love to. I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface of stories you have with
Oh,
musicians, and so
you know, next time what I'll tell you the story of is what is Gary Busey.
oh yeah,
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
tell you, it
Gary.
is a crazy story with what happened with this guy.
all right.
He's
I mean,
cra-
it's really he's out there.
I was gonna say if it starts with Gary Busey, yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, it
will.
was pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah, nice.
darn it. We gotta wait. Okay.
Well, if you got time to tell the story, we got time to hear the story.
I can tell you, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
absolutely.
We'll,
I would
we'll
love
leave
it.
with this. So it first started. I'm super young. I'm out in LA at the time is where they were doing the ACMs,
Okay.
like the Academy of Country Music Awards
Mhm.
at Universal Studios. So I'm out there to interview people. He walks by, and it's like I have this old school, like probably a data recorder or something, and I walk up to him. I'm like, hey, I'm with whatever radio station. Can I, ask you a couple questions? And you would have thought I was going to kill him or something. He turned around and was like, no, I'm not talking to you. I've got this, and that. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I started crying.
No.
He
And
can be
He
intimidating.
didn't care.
His
he didn't
look.
care.
Yeah.
Huh?
He can
Yeah,
be
he just
intimidating.
walked- Yes. And so I went on the air when I went back, and they're like, oh, how was it? I go, I will never talk to that guy again. This is what the guy did. He was a jerk, blah, blah, blah. So 6 months later, I want to say it was 6 months, maybe not even that long. We're having like this promotion meeting, and they're like, so they're getting ready to film this movie here in town, and they want you and your partner to be in the movie. It's going to be an old Western. They want you to be like a saloon girl. He's going to be like a bartender, whatever. And, I'm like, this is great. More movies,
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we need to tell you who's starring
Oh,
in it.
no.
I'm like, who? And they're all Gary Busey. I'm like, no, absolutely not. They're like, you got to go, blah, blah, blah. So they talk me into it. So I go, and I'm expecting I get to be this cool saloon girl, right? No. They dressed me like I was an Amish person. Okay.
Aw.
Kid you not. I'm like, no makeup, bonnet, covered head to toe. And I'm like, what kind of crap is this? Well, whatever. I'm in a movie, right?
Right.
And so now remember, I'm dressed as like an Amish, and I say Amish, I don't know what else you call it. I'm a Quaker, I guess it was the time period. I'm dressed as a Quaker. Gary Busey sees me and beeline straight to me and is just like trying to pick up on me. I'm dressed as a Quaker. I'm like, and he's like,
we know
telling
Gary's
me-
fetish.
I mean, yeah.
so he's telling me all this stuff, whatever. And he's just talking and talking. And my morning show partner, who was quite a bit older, came over and was like, hey, we need to go, like, I don't know, eat or something. He's like, let's go in the craft service thing. And I'm like, okay. He goes, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, the guy's just, I don't even know what he's saying. It's like nonsense. He's like, okay, well, I'm keeping my eye on you because I don't know what's going on here. I'm like, okay. So the guy who was running this movie set said, hey, he wants to hang out with you. And I'm like, well, no, whatever the deal is. So we go to the craft tent. He sits down next to me. And I guarantee he was liquored up. You could smell it. But he's telling me how he doesn't drink and how he's like a preacher now. And he took a piece of paper and he went through his journey of being abducted by the aliens.
Nice.
Or wait, no, he was in a motorcycle accident, right? Or a
Yes.
dirt bike or something. And then abducted by the aliens. He drew it out for me. And so he's telling me all this stuff. And I go, hey, can you sign your name right there? And he did. And the sad thing is, I don't know what I did with that paper.
Oh, no.
But I know. I'm like, well, I had the proof. But he told me all this stuff and he goes, look, I'm a pastor and I'm going to have a Bible study. And if you want, you can come to my hotel tonight and we can have a Bible study.
That's nice.
Wow,
of
he
him.
is smooth.
That's nice.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. But so anyway, so I ended up, it was the most bizarre thing where he was like everything everyone said.
Mm-hmm.
And then he told me the whole story and he was like in depth and crazy eyed and everything. And then the fact that he was mean to me 3 months earlier. And then here I'm a Quaker and, everything's great.
Oh,
So, yeah.
I imagine there's
But that's perfect of Gary.
Imagine there's not a lot of
from what we've heard stories.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I've never heard a whole lot about him.
I imagine there's not a lot of boring stories about Gary.
Probably
just
not.
that he was never the same after his motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he got in an accident without a helmet, so I think he was almost died.
Yeah.
He was in the
Well,
hospital
that's
for a long
sad.
time. Yeah. And then when he
That's really
came
sad.
out, he just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
But I
when
think he
did-
truly believes he was abducted, though. It seems like he
Oh.
truly believes it.
He did. And I'm telling you, he went into depth
Yeah.
and drew what the aliens look like. And I was like, holy crap. Is this like, I seriously was looking around like, is someone filming this? Like, is this a joke?
Is this
But he was serious. But
Oh,
he also was full of lies. Cause I'm like, dude, you reek of alcohol.
yeah.
Well, that's number one thing, right?
Right.
I don't drink.
Yeah.
You say what you're actually doing, but
Right. Exactly.
I would have loved to see that paper. That must be amazing to look
Right.
at.
Oh, I'm hoping, obviously I've moved so much. I'm hoping that one day I find it in a box.
Yeah.
I'll have to find out the name of that movie though, because I think I'm not shocked, but I think it went like straight to DVD or something.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure. I mean, look, it wasn't when I saw when I heard the treatment or whatever you call it, I was like, okay, I get to be a saloon girl. Great.
Nice.
So,
Nice. I'll look for that too. They got to be Gary Busey couldn't have been in that many Westerns, right?
no, I don't know.
He didn't seem like your typical Western.
No, but I
actor,
think
so-
he did a lot of. He's a name. We could get him for a good price, so he's in all these direct-to-video.
The only
sure.
thing I remember him in was the Buddy Holly thing.
Well, he was in Point
old-
Break.
Point Break.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I love Point Break. Wait, was that pre-accident or after?
That was after.
Was it really?
I think he got worse as time went on. He was in Tommy Boy, wasn't he? He was in one of the. He was in
Oh, he was Black Sheep.
Black Sheep. He
One
was the
of those.
crazy guy in the mountains.
Yeah, one of those. Oh,
I
yeah.
was shocked.
And Lethal Weapon. He was in Lethal Weapon with Mel Gibson.
Oh, that's right. I haven't really seen Lethal Weapon. I don't know. why.
Okay. So
Yeah.
he was.
He's been in a lot
been
more than
around, yeah.
a lot more than you think.
Yeah. Wow.
Huh. Well, if you ever find that piece of paper,
Yeah,
I will, and I'll show you.
yeah, and then get it straight to eBay. You're gonna be able to
Yes,
retire.
I will.
Fucker, put that up. It's got to be amazing.
Well, and
like
the fact he actually signed it.
Right. He was, yeah, okay.
I remember thinking at the time, no one is going to believe this.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to get this signed.
Right.
And he signed it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I would have loved to hear that story from him.
Oh, it was straight crazy train, but it was the way he painted the picture. It was
Yeah.
so believable.
Yeah.
Like I thought, well, maybe he's onto something. I don't know.
Just find where he is and dress yourself up as a Quaker.
Oh, there you go.
Your
He'll
goal.
be all over me. Well, you definitely have patience to just put up with him because you truly knew he was
Right.
all over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him.
But it was good content, right?
That right?
There you go.
That's what you need. That's what you
Yeah.
need. All right.
Well,
Thank you so
Thank
much
you for
sharing.
having me.
Yeah, you bet. We appreciate it. So
Yes.
we'll
Had a
be,
blast getting to know you.
yeah, we'll be
Yes,
watching.
me too.
We'll be,
Okay.
we'll be watching your stuff. So
Yay, I'll have 2 people watching now.
start slow. It starts slow.
Yes. Yes.
All
All
right.
right. Thanks so
Well,
much.
have a good night.
You as
Thank
well.
you.
Bye.
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 Thank you for listening. The tavern is closed for now, but we'd love to have you back for more fun next time. Seriously, though, get your asses out of here.